Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. We are coming off of a win against Texas Tech.
Seemed like forever.
I know. I'm actually going to look it up after, as you go on your recap. How many days has it been between the Baylor game and us winning against Tech? But we go into Lubbock, handle our business. They made us super nervous. We were up 17 points, 10 minutes left in the game, and then Texas Tech does what they do in Lubbock at night. Just your thoughts. I know we haven't chimed in with you, so want to get your thoughts on Tech.
Texas Tech did what they do, and we did what we do as well. We like to give away big leads and make it interesting. We can't just have a good game where we just blow a team out and relax, But the way I looked at it is the way it's been the last couple weeks is just that our offense has been clicking and our defense has been suffering. Yes, we've had a lot of injuries, but we're just giving up way too many yards, way too many big plays, and it's at this point it's a little bit unacceptable.
And it's situational big plays. Mm-hmm. When we really need a stop or really need it, and we've been situationally good at some points in these games. I felt like that 4th and 1 on their side of the field where Menahue and the defensive line is able to crash. We come through there, but then as you saw in West Virginia or Oklahoma State, we give up a big play over the top or somebody gets mossed, and it's just way too much of that. Texas Tech at the end of the game, very desperate, but a guy like Jet Duffy who's in 2-minute drill the rest of the game and whatnot. And granted, we have, as Tom Herman said, the full MASH unit in there in the secondary, and I get it. But just, this is a recurring trend. It's not just, we had guys in the game at Oklahoma State. It's not like we've been a MASH unit for the last 3 weeks. Right. Even the opening drive, talk to me about just, you thought there was some big turning points in this football game.
Absolutely. Yeah, the big turning point was Devontae Davis interception. That was probably the easiest interception he'll ever get. And not only that, to tell you the truth, the 2 plays of the game were plays that weren't things that we didn't actually even do, like the interception from Devontae Davis. And one was we were driving, we got sacked. It was 3rd and 15. They had us covered. I think we threw an underneath route and we didn't get the first down. But we got the first down because of the defensive back. I think it was face mask.
It was face mask on Gerard Hurd.
Yeah, on the opposite side of the field, and that just kept our drive going. That's what got us. To me, it seemed like it's what got our offense going, and we got, I think, our first touchdown off of that drive as well. And it was them shooting themselves in the foot. It wasn't really anything that we were doing out of the norm.
By the way, it looks like we beat Baylor on October 13th. And we beat Tech on November 10th. So it's 27, almost a month, like 27 days between a W. And so we've had a lot of conversations with you guys on this channel. Just, what were the woes coming out of the bye week? But you know what? We want to go into our good, bad, and ugly. And one of the good things, even before the bye, but coming out of the bye where they've really been firing on all cylinders, is this offense led by Sam Ehlinger.
They've been phenomenal. I mean, Sam Ehlinger just looks comfortable back there. Even when he was, by all means, our offensive line had their worst game of the season. And they
worst game, especially in terms of pass protection.
I would say, they were getting pressure on. They were getting pressure on Sam, and he was just calm, cool, collected, and he was delivering the ball where he was delivering into tight windows too. When they'd show replays of, I guess, quick slants to LJ, or as we now call him, Lil Yak.
Lil Yak.
If anyone doesn't know what Yak stands for, it stands for yards after catch. This is the guy that will get a 5-yard out, double covered, and get 30 yards. I mean,
it seems to me like every game he starts with, like, he catches a slant and he just cuts it upfield for big yards. Like, he starts off with like a 19-yard run or a 24-yard run. And every week, it's been phenomenal to watch. And his development in terms of his route running and his chemistry with Sam Ehlinger has been very impressive to watch. I think I had titled on my recap video, when they were both second team guys in the spring game in 2017.
Right.
And they connected on a big play in the spring game in the back of the end zone for anybody that was there or remembers. And how far both of those young men have come as carrying this football team. Because in terms of the production, it was on their backs that Texas jumped out to the lead and Texas closing the game. But we have some unsung guys that we don't think have been talked about enough, starting with Gerard Hurd.
We've attacked the senior leadership on this channel quite a few times, and he's the type of leader that you want. He hasn't played at all this year, and I think coming into this game, he had 2 catches for, I think, 25 yards or something like that. And he ended up getting 4 receptions for 58 yards or something like that. And
all of them, I think, moved the sticks.
Yeah, all of them were third down conversions, back shoulder throws. He could have just hung his head and, just
not been
engaged. But no, he came in, he produced, and his saying afterwards is, they asked, how do you want to be remembered at Texas? He said, I want to be remembered as making Texas better. That's the type of leader that you want.
I love Gerard Hurd. Real talk. I love the guy. If I ever see him in person, I'll give him a hug, because he came to this program at a dark time. Honestly, if he had come here at a different time, his career, and his development as a quarterback, as a football player, it's probably different.
Yeah.
Coming in here, he was recruited by Mac Brown. He plays for quarterback under Charlie Strong. He gets moved to wide receiver when Sterling Gilbert
got here.
Sterling Gilbert gets here. He gets moved to wide receiver. Then he gets passed at the position by younger guys and guys, moving. But he always stayed the course. Even last year when he started a game at Wildcat quarterback and was in whatever is asked, he's always ready and called upon. And he's a professional in how he handles himself. He was asked to play a different position. He wasn't, typically he's more been a slot guy and what Tom Herman and them want him to do, and playing on the outside, and not just playing on the outside, but learning, I think Tom Herman said 48 hours.
Yeah. And 2 different positions.
Also shows his acumen. It shows his acumen as a football player, being really, really smart. Why he was a former quarterback. But to your point about the senior leadership, that's the leadership we're looking for. That guy's just, and I can tell you right now, just seeing the young man talk and how he handles himself, he's probably an excellent influence, great locker room guy. So he's going to be missed next year and as we move forward. He's been, some people joke all the time, Gerard Hurd's still in Texas. It's like, every college has that one guy who's been there forever.
Andrew Bex has been there longer than him. He's been at Texas for 87 years.
Yeah. But, we want to definitely shout out Gerard Hurd. Yeah. We'll get to our bad and ugly in a second, but we do have some defensive guys, that had some really good football games, starting with Devontae Davis.
Had 2 forced turnovers, and that forced fumble and recovery was probably one of the best I've seen, honestly, against the sideline. It was a lucky bounce, but he still made that play. And then the interception, he was opportunistic on that one, of course.
But his tackling, even on bubble screen, fighting through blocks, all that, unfortunately he got hurt later in the game, and it sounds like he's going to be ready for Iowa State.
Yeah, they released the depth chart, and I think he was on there still as a starting depth chart.
But, unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the football game. Charles Omenihu, I thought, was outstanding again. I think Charles Omenihu is making himself some money, to be honest with you. He's putting out some really good film. I know, and it was something you commented on. I know he kind of beat himself up in his post game.
Yeah, which is refreshing to me too, as well as like the coaching is not only. It's extending from the field. It's also going to handling the media, because they asked him, they said, hey, you had a great game. You had that huge 4th and 1 stop. You got pressure on the quarterback. You had 2 sacks. He goes, his first response was, but I also had 2 offsides. And that's the first thing he went to, was a negative, something that he can actually improve on week over week.
Sam Ehlinger, same thing. First thing Tom Herman says in the post game press conference. I think I covered this in the recap.
He had a ball. He balled out.
Balled out. 4 touchdowns. The numbers, the stats, his season stats, all of that. Interception streak, 280, all of that. Why did he take those 2 bad sacks? That's But, as fans, we may sound ridiculous and whatnot, but as coaches and whatnot, they are coaching these guys assuming they're playing at the highest level. It's like, we see so much potential in you, and we're holding you to that standard. You know better in those situations.
Have that accountability.
And having that accountability, because it's not for Sam. Sam knows when he's like, I can get out of this, and he messes up. He knows better. It's for everybody else on the team to say, when they're not playing well, or they're not playing as many snaps, they can still be coached just as hard as the superstar quarterback or the superstar defensive end. So that accountability across the board. One of the guys that's, you say what you will, maybe have been a punching bag on this channel and has been highly scrutinized, deservedly so, has been PJ Locke. I thought PJ Locke I thought he had a very good game. He was voted defensive MVP by the coaches, mainly because he finished the game, or else it would have been Devontae Davis. And I know people are going to be like, you took another shot at PJ Locke. But outside of that onside kick, he had a really good day. Yeah. All things considered.
And that onside kick, you can't really blame him for it. That ball was coming down at like 70 miles an hour. And a lot of, I'm going to say
Hatfield's a good kicker.
The majority of people will not catch that with their hands.
Dude, he kicked it. I wasn't even mad at PJ. I was mad because it was PJ Locke, but I feel like objectively looking at that play, he kicked it 100 miles an hour. Because at first I'm like, man, the brother's not ready, blah, 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 But then that ball was kicked. That was an amazing onside kick.
And all those people who say, well, he should have ducked and let the back man kick. You don't understand how fast that ball is coming at you.
In a split second.
You just want to react. You're the hands team. You're supposed
it should never happen with hands team and happen. But that aside, he made some plays in the backfield. His tackling was a lot better. I thought he took better angles today, and overall had a pretty good day. The last good I had, and guys, tell us in the comments anything we missed from the good. Cameron Dicker, 2 long field goals in the win at night on the road, handling his business. It didn't even. I felt like because he made that first kick, I didn't even have to worry about that second one. Even though, and that second one was off the left hash, no problem, right through the pipes. Don't even have to worry about it. And he got himself another tackle. On special teams.
We shouldn't be having to worry about our kicker tackling. I'm sorry.
Well, that leads us to we're going to start with our bad.
Yeah.
And the directional kickoffs need to stop, John. They need to stop. Kick the ball out the end zone.
Direct it out the end zone.
Direct the ball out the end zone. I know they think they're seeing something on tape every week, and they're like, oh, we can hit them on this side. They don't block it. We don't cover kicks well, Tom Herman.
Nope.
We don't cover kicks well. It just is what it is. What's the guy, the safeties coach? Y'all tell me in the comments. Because he's the one that's the I think it's Craig Navarre. Craig Navarre. We don't cover kicks well. Stop doing stop calling for the directional kick. We did it in Oklahoma State to start the game. We did it at one point during West Virginia, and we did it this past week. All 3 times they've gotten past the 40. You might as well kick the ball out of bounds at that point. And we don't the first guy never makes the tackle for whatever reason. We don't funnel it well. We don't stay on our lanes. The directional kicking needs to stop. Because to your point, the kicker shouldn't be if he didn't make that tackle, that kid's probably ended up around the 30-yard line before we forced him out of bounds. Inexcusable. The defense for Jet Duffy, 3rd string quarterback, 2nd career start. And look, Jet Duffy handed us this football game in many ways.
He did.
From, not just basic Pop Warner fundamentals, carrying the ball in your left hand if you're going out this way, carrying the ball in your right hand if you're going out this way. But those 3 turnovers aside, which sounds like a lot, 444 yards passing for a guy that's not known as a thrower, and another 80 on the ground. And he put Brecken Hager in a highlight video. Damn near broke
his ankles.
Just talk to me. What's going on with the defense? 500 yards given up, 3 consecutive weeks.
So, I mean, the way I looked at it was that people are just outmanning us. But no, I mean, I was going on a run and I was listening to the Rodcast of Rob Babers, and he brought up a great point: is that We're in the Big 12, and we have the best offensive line as head coaches, not just head coaches, but position coaches
across the board.
Mm-hmm. And there's usually that sophomore slump for defensive coordinators because people get film on it and they can scheme past it. And that 3-3-5 that we
but it's now really the lightning package, which is a dime.
Yeah.
Traditionally 3-3-5 is more of a nickel package, but now we don't play 3 linebackers.
No, we play 2 at a time.
We play 2.
But one thing I did see at the beginning of the game that probably threw a little wrench into things, I did see 4 down linemen in a couple sets of those games. We need to start.
Taquan Graham was moving outside.
I think Taquan Graham's going to be a player too. I was rewatching that. He was getting big pushes. He wasn't getting the quarterback, but he was getting big pushes and getting him to roll out. So I think he's going to be a good player.
They played Wilbon and Christmas Giles at nose as well. So they were trying to rotate more people on the line.
And I think once all those people actually get that experience in big time game experience like that, and on the different formations, I think that the team's going to start being successful. I'm not one to say that hey, let's fire Todd Orlando. I think he's a smart coach.
I think Todd Orlando's a part of the solution. I don't think he's necessarily the problem. Now, at the same token, he's the head of the defense.
Right.
And he's the defensive play caller.
That was Rod Babers' absolute same idea, was that he's the head of the snake. All these offenses are becoming innovative. Start being innovative with your defense. Start coming up with different things.
Yeah, because you can tell people have caught on. Look, you only have so many blitzes in the bag. And, some guys are better from blitzing at depth. There was a guy, we haven't talked about him all year, that we had last year, Antoine Davis, who was really good at blitzing from depth.
Yep.
Because he was super fast and he was really strong, and he could get underneath the hips of the offensive lineman and just get back there and blow up stuff.
And I think B.J. Foster could be that guy.
B.J. Foster could be
that guy.
But we don't have like Josh Thompson right now. They're kind of trying to use him like that, and for whatever reason, it's not effective. B.J. Foster eventually could get to that point, and he's actually been more effective blitzing. He's got himself maybe a sack or two. But overall, I covered this a lot when we broke down the lightning package and the 3-tiered issues. You're just seeing that week over week. And look, even with Donovan Duvernay was in there because we were down to some of our third string guys. Anthony Cook played a lot, and some of them did get beat. But one of the issues I had was Chris Boyd still getting beat. And granted, he had to match up against arguably one of the best receiver in the Big 12 in Antoine West, because that brother is on a whole nother level. But there's just plays where he's still, he seems like he's there and he just doesn't make a good play on the football. And maybe that just, as we move on and we continue to recruit other defensive backs who just have better eyes and play the ball better, that's something that we will improve on. I think we still do miss Brandon Jones a lot. It sounds like he's on track to play this weekend. I think that will help a lot on the back end with a lot of the big plays, because we're going to get
people
into
lined up too.
Getting people lined, because some of it is alignment issues for sure. I thought they played the run really well. DeLeon Ward, some of those other guys, like Jet Duffy was their leading rusher. I mean, and when he broke contain and was kind of scrambling around, that's where he got his chunk yardage. But for the most part, their leading running back only had 40 yards on the ground. So we did make a concerted effort to shore that up after getting gashed so badly by West Virginia.
Yep.
But, we are playing a team that's going to be more physical than us next week.
Yep.
So that's something where, whether we put good film out or not, that's going to be a concern. The last, the thing I want to address too, if I haven't already, the opening drives. And that plays into the defense.
Why don't we just put the 7 points on the board? Instead of, okay, let's just take off 3 minutes and put 7 points on the board, and let's start with the offense.
8 out of the last 10, or 8 out of the 10 games we've played, we've given up points.
Yep.
And we're not just giving up field goals, we're giving up touchdowns. I think 6 out of the 8 we've given up a touchdown. And teams are so confident. You saw Texas Tech went for it on 4th and 3, middle of the field. They didn't care. They give it.
Yep.
They're like, we're gonna score. It's opening drive.
They went on 4th and 1 on their 25th 5-yard line. That's what they.
And you know what, man? Like, honestly, I'm with you on defense sets the tone, and I typically would accept the kick. But also know your team, know your personnel. We don't start well on defense. And I would personally, the way the offense has been playing, I put the ball in my quarterback's hands and try to say, hey, y'all gonna come off the bench today.
Especially, I think one of our viewers had a good point, especially on the road in a hostile environment. I agree with that, actually.
I let him set the tone. Sam at this point is almost halfway through his college career. He's a veteran quarterback. He's had enough starts. The way he communicates with LJ, that they're at the point where they can kind of look at each other and convert third downs. Let them start off, and then we'll have the defense pitch in. Let's get into actually, we need to do uglies. Uglies, we only have one ugly this week, but it's a bad ugly. The injuries.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's I mean, we're not that great of a defense to begin with. And it seems like most of our injuries are on the defensive side. I mean, yeah, we have we had, I think Colin Johnson was the only one that was out. And did one of our linemen go down? I thought he might have come back in the game. I think
somebody, I forgot about that one.
But it's all on the defensive side of the ball, which are
Ingram got hit in the ribs.
Oh yeah,
but on the defensive side of the ball,
it's just all over.
We were down to basically Chris Boyd was the only person uninjured because Tom Herman said even PJ Locke, who finished the game, had a sprained toe. So everybody was, Caden Stern's thing was scary to me.
He's on the depth chart as the starter. So, I mean,
I'm going to turn the light on. Keep talking.
Yeah. So Caden Stearns is definitely scary. He got hit in the back of the head, and all of a sudden he gets up and then falls back down. It looked like a boxer who was trying to.
And he was like, that was really scary to me. And we'll have to see how they allegedly he's going through concussion protocol. We all know how that works, and we're all skeptical of it, but
how it's run. But,
I'm player safety first. If he's not able to play, it's not worth it. It's a livelihood.
Especially since he's just a freshman. He's got his whole career ahead of him.
That was really scary. The Josh Thompson injury was really unfortunate. When Caden Stearns was getting ready to have the pick and he, hits his ankle. So just losing guys. And we saw the drop off, even though they had been playing well, when other guys come in and, who you can kind of see who's had only been taking mental reps, so to speak, in practice. And it hurts Todd Orlando. He can't call. I can't go in my bag as deep. I got to really kind of stay in base now. That's what y'all know. Y'all been on scout team the whole time. Y'all don't know, so it's tough. It's tough. But we got the W.
Yeah.
We got the W. That's the important thing. We're 7-3, big picture guys. I would have taken 7-3 to be transparent. Preseason preview, I picked this team to go 8-4, and I would have been. I thought before the season go 8-4. That's a little bit of progress. Before the bowl game, I think you picked them to go 9-3. 9-3 still on the table.
Yep.
9-3 is still on the table. Let's go into Iowa State prep. Very big game this week. They're ranked as well. Coming into DKR, they, I think they've won 5 straight games.
They have, and they've beaten pretty solid teams in this.
So run. I want to, they had that brawl because Baylor. I don't know what the hell was going on in that game, but David Montgomery's obviously, right there with Justice Hill is one of the best backs in the Big 12. And he's going to be suspended the first half against us, which is a big loss because he does a lot for them, especially in the red zone. They'll do a lot of direct snap to him. They'll run him on counter, Mr. Everything.
And he's the type of back that we have trouble with, too. Let's be honest. I mean,
we don't tackle people like that well.
Yeah, nope. He's a big athletic back. That's what he is. And he's going to be playing on Sundays.
But he runs behind his pads. Just your overall, when we were talking before, you made an analogy about Iowa State.
They remind me a lot of old school Kansas State, a team that we've had problems with. They're not a team that's going to beat themselves. They're a team that plays defense. Their coach is phenomenal. Coach Campbell, people need to realize he's the one who brought in the little cloud coverage defense. He's the one specifically for Oklahoma and
the three deep safeties and
they're not going to beat themselves. They're not very highly penalized, except last game. But I mean, everyone was getting penalized that game. And their offense. I mean, with this freshman quarterback and their big time. Once again, we have
Hakeem Butler.
We have another 6'6".
Yeah, another 6'6"
receiver. We have to deal
over
with
800 receiving yards, I believe. He's been a beast. Another guy we got to deal with. Just when I thought, Alan Lazard finally graduates, now we got to deal with another dude at Iowa State. They're fearless. They will come into your house. They're a team that I see that they play just as well on the road as they do at home. The reason why they can do that cloud stuff and play so far off is because their defensive front, they'll play 3 down linemen, they'll play 4, they'll have some linebackers. They're so stout at the point of attack. And it reminds me kind of how we were last year in our Lightning package when we had Poona Ford and Malik and all those guys, and they were just really, really strong at the point of attack. That's how these guys, that's how they recruit, that's how they coach it. That's Matt Campbell's the program mentality. They have a very next man up mentality. Look how many quarterbacks they've had play over the last 2 seasons, and it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered. They went into battle against Oklahoma and came up just short with Zeb Nolan. Now they have a freshman who this will be his first Texas game. But point of attack, I'm worried because of the physicality, and our defense is reeling. In terms of injuries and how kind of soft we've been at times. But offensively, this is a game where we get to see Sam Ehlinger, his graduate level experience start to really, really show. They planned that cloud, but Kyler Murray figured it out earlier this year. Now, Will Grier didn't. Yeah. But I think that was a whole nightmare.
Let's be honest, this team shouldn't surprise us like they surprised West Virginia. That they should have our full undivided attention on this game.
And look, Tom Herman coached there. He knows what's up. He knows how the environment. We did beat them there last year in Ames, and that was a game where rest in peace Tonell Carter, him and Shane Bouchot hooked up for that touchdown where they ran it. That's actually one of the ways you can beat cloud though, is those type of routes.
Yep.
So that's going to be something to key in on. Hopefully we get Colin Johnson back.
And watching the Baylor game too, I was seeing Baylor get push on their defensive line. They were getting, I think, 6 yards a clip from what I was watching.
And we have been. I know we said earlier that we thought it was the worst offensive line performance, especially for Calvin Anderson in Tech,
which might have been the best thing for us. I mean,
we were running the football very effectively. And I think that can continue mixing that in with, I think that it's all connected with Sam efficiency throwing the football and what we're getting out of Little Jordan. Right. What we're finally starting to connect with Devin Duvernay and other guys coming in. One of the things we were talking about too was like how we've been able to incorporate some young guys, getting them some valuable snaps. You guys saw a Malcolm Epps get in last week at the X and make a back shoulder catch for 18 yards. We saw Brendan Eagles earlier this year make a catch for 35 yards. These are going to be the guys. Because let's face it, Colin and LJ, most likely there's a chance they could come back, but most likely I think they're gone.
Yeah.
This coaching staff is being smart about, hey, let's give Malcolm Epps a series here, just so in his mind he knows he can play Big 12 football. Yep. And Sam Ehlinger, trusting his reads, I'm going to throw it to him. You know what? You're 6'6", you can go get it. No problem. And we're recruiting really well. We were talking about Jake Smith and some of the other exciting players we have coming into the program. They're building up their depth very well. Overall, what do what's your prediction, for Iowa State?
Well, I'm going to go off a limb and say it's going to be a one-score game, like always. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm hoping that our crowd can have a little effect on this freshman. He's a true freshman, right? Playing.
I believe so. I'll double check that.
I mean, he hasn't faced an atmosphere like Texas, 100,000 people. So the crowd needs to actually be engaged, and it's going to be a night game. So I'm assuming that it's going to be pretty pretty lit up for
His
that.
dad's name's Chubba Purdy. That's awesome.
Nice. But yeah,
he's a true freshman.
we need to. I know it's going to be hard because we haven't done it for most of the year. We need to get pressure on him. We need to get him to make some bad decisions.
And he can move.
He can run.
He's the second leading rusher on their team. So it's another dual threat guy. We saw how we struggled with Jet Duffy. Rinse and repeat. So
we also need to build up a lead at halftime because you want to kind of keep the ball out of Montgomery's hand when he comes back.
I agree.
Yeah. So
could that be another reason to elect to take the ball to start the game, just to try to front run?
Absolutely.
I would try to front run, try to get up, because this is actually a team where if I recall, we got up because we only won like 17-3, I think, in last year's game, and I think we got up and we just hung on. We just kind of hung on. And I'm not saying this is going to be this type of game. I remember when we had a shootout with them randomly a couple of years ago. It was more than when Swoops was a quarterback, and he randomly threw for like 350. So we've had some really weird games. We had the game where they shut us out 16-0 in Ames when Gerard Hurd was a quarterback. So we've had some weird bouts with these guys. I just think that honestly, I'm picking us because I think we're going to have the two best football players in the game. Between Sam Ellinger and Lil Jordan Humphrey. We had a guy on here, bring up the fact I have faith against Iowa State because we have Lil Jordan. And I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. So overall, man, I mean, I think you have some comments just we want to address. Some people had some questions or really good thoughts.
Yeah, we had one from JB12. The O-line took a step back.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We talked about that. Yeah, and like you said, we did get pushed on the line, and we were able to run the ball. I think 157 yards.
It was just disappointing with the pass pro. And also, side note, the officiating was bad again, guys. Hashtag Big 12 refs. What is there even to complain about at this point? You know what I mean? Like, it just, you're going to get, I didn't understand why Jeffers got to stay in the game. I'm sure we're going to get a couple Tech fans that come on here. But, he to me, hit the quarterback with his helmet shoved him. But he gets to stay in the game, and he goes and it almost hurts two other people. Where he's, again, and then I can't stand Tim Brando. Spencer Tillman, I don't care for either, but both of them are idiots to me. And you hear Tim Brando, he's living dangerously. You think?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
but then one of them also said, I don't know if it was Spencer Tillman that said it, but he goes, but you like to see that aggression in that play right after.
Well, then what's the point of the rules? Like, either you lead with the crown of your helmet or you don't. I don't know. But, look, I want to wrap this up because we're coming up on time. There was some news, and we'll address it because some people are choosing to address it and some people aren't. Tom Herman. Sorry for the append, guys. So we wanted to talk about the Tom Herman and Zach Smith controversy. Zach Smith just all of a sudden the other night just starts tweeting very profanity-laced, calling out Tom Herman, trying to expose him, really targeting his wife, Michelle Herman.
Well, he tried to, but it was the wrong person,
tried
right?
to. He tags, he does the whole thing. And, talks about him cheating on his wife and all this type of stuff. And obviously it's in response to him losing his job, saying he ruined his life, And I think we actually talked about Tom Herman's role in the Ohio State in our preview. We're not here to divulge on that. I think it was funny, and I loved Tom Herman's response in the text message. Okay, cool. Hook 'em. And because it's funny because the dude's delusional because he sends out the text messages and it's like, bro, you the one that looked like a fool. And it was a Texas A&M person that pointed that out. Texas A&M guy was like, why would you post text messages where you're getting owned? It just shows the level. Honestly, in all seriousness, this could be a mental health issue, and he actually does seriously need help. But the question I have for you is: at the Monday press conference, Tom Herman was not asked about it. Do you think it was the media's responsibility to ask him about the tweets?
So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Of course, people wanted to ask because you wanted to get that, be the person to get that
The scoop,
information out there. But at the same time, I think we're also in Austin, where the big team, the professional, quote unquote, professional team is the Longhorns. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure beforehand the media coordinator or the publicist said, "Hey."
Yeah, probably John Bianco.
Questions.
Yeah, he could have. That could have been, kind of a wink agreement before the presser.
Guys, listen. I think they even came out and said that they've already discussed this during the hiring process with Tom Herman.
And I don't even. It's none of our business.
It isn't.
There's no law. Like, he didn't break a law. And this is big time college football. You have people, morally, if you don't like Tom Herman, I totally understand. Yeah. But it's none of our business.
The reason why it's none of our business is it's not our family, and at the same time, it happened so long ago. The issue that I would have, though, is if he started doing it here and embarrassing the university, because then we couldn't stand on the grounds of something like, hey, Major Applewhite's not allowed to work here because of the issue that he had with the co-ed as well.
I totally understand.
And as long as he stays the course on what he's doing, that should be between him and his wife, him and his family. It shouldn't be blasted out there just because some guy wants attention.
I don't want to hear a single interview about him even talking about that type of stuff again. That's between him, his wife, family, marriage counselor, what have you. Both of us are married. Mm-hmm. Those things, I don't want my business out on Front Street. I'm sure you don't either. However, I do think it is the media's responsibility to at least ask the question and just say, hey, Tom, any thoughts on what Zach Smith tweeted? Just to give him the opportunity to say no comment or whatever, and we move on. But just kind of checking that box, because where you get into a dangerous place is a lot of those same media members that were in that room heavily criticized Baylor, and I know it's not the same thing, but they heavily criticized Baylor because in Waco they were all caught up about media and a lot of people kind of covering things up and not asking questions of Art Browse. I think here in Austin, even though it's a bigger city, like you said, it's our one major sports team here, and you kind of saw the control. If he was in New York, the question would have got asked. I'll put it that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I think it was just kind of like a, hey guys, if you want to ask him that, fine, but can we try to keep it professional and about Iowa State?
Keep it professional. And just say, hey, do you care to comment on the tweets? I think that would have been appropriate. But to act like nothing happened. Yeah. That's not
addressing
full
the elephant in the room.
Journalistic integrity, in my opinion. But we just wanted to chime in on that real quick. Again, sorry for the append in the middle of the video. But we appreciate you guys as always. Please chime in with your thoughts on this upcoming Iowa State game. Both of us are very excited. We plan on being there again this weekend at DKR and tailgating. So we'll have, just hit us up on social media and, remember to say hey and throw up the horns when you see us at the game. John, appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.